Hey guys, I'm Eyal. I'm the founder of DeepDAO, and I wish I could be there with you guys in Athens. I love Athens. I was supposed to come, but at the last minute had to cancel. So let's start anyway. Uh, Today I'm going to talk about state of the DAOs and DAO data. And I'm very bullish on DAOs. DeepDAO is bullish on DAOs. And I think we're in the right space. It's a fascinating space. It's a really growing one, and it's a great place to be right now. So let's look at some of the numbers, or maybe just a quick look at DeepDAO before we start into the presentation. DeepDAO has been around since 2020. We are aggregating DAOs since then and adding a lot of data. We're very data greedy. We like to get all the data that we can. And right now we are aggregating over almost 20,000 governance systems. And we personally manually touched almost 2,400 DAOs. There's a lot of work involved in it. And the first time I gave this presentation was in September 2021. At that time, this was 2 years into the process, when I started aggregating DAOs, the number of the total treasury in all the DAO ecosystem was about 10 million. So in September 2021, it grew to 10 billion. And today, it's actually already closer to 25 billion, which is like 2,500x growth. I'll say it again, over 2,000x growth for the DAO ecosystem. This is phenomenal growth. And while all this is happening, there's a narrative out there that DAOs are not doing that well, and there's an issue with it and all that. So through all bear market sentiments, DAOs are growing at a fast pace. The number of DAO members in September 21 was 1 million. In December 23, it's 9.5 million. That's almost 10x growth. We count as member everybody that has a governance token. So anybody that can potentially vote is considered a member, even if they don't vote. I'll show you the number for actual voters soon. The number of DAOs back then was 150. We're at around 20,000 today. And let's just take a look at the number of decisions. So 182K proposals are aggregated on DeepDAO, and over 32 million votes. Again, 4 years ago, these numbers were about 100 proposals and maybe hundreds of votes, maybe 2,000, 3,000 votes at most. Again, phenomenal growth. Moving on to the chains. In 2021, I'm going to go over a little bit of the growth metrics because I think it's interesting, and it's part of the narrative that is being built out there. So in 2021, about 5 chains had DAOs. Ethereum, of course, Polkadot. The entire Polkadot ecosystem is all the substrates are really DAOs. XDAI, that today turned into a Gnosis chain. BSC and Near had some DAOs in them. And December 2023, 2 years later, dozens of chains, all the L2s, of course, all the EVM L2s, and there are many of them, Solana, some substrates still, and many others. I want to show you some data on this. So I looked at the numbers for the 5 larger chains and L2s. Most of the DAO ecosystem is still on Ethereum, we see that 16,000 of our governance systems, most of them snapshots actually, are happening on Ethereum. The total treasury in Ethereum treasuries is almost 16 billion, and total number of votes is about 18 million. Second largest in terms of total treasury is Arbitrum, and the third one is Optimism. Both of these actually, most of their treasury is in their own DAOs. So we can see that Optimism has 4 billion in the excuse me, Optimism Collective, and Arbitrum has almost 4 billion. And we can actually jump into the DAO tokens dashboard to see which tokens DAOs are using. I think this is a really interesting excuse me again, piece of data to see which tokens are used by DAOs. DAOs are full of smart people, very savvy in the market. They know what they're doing. And so if we sort by number of organizations, we can see that there's definitely a long-term vision here. They're not just going and speculating, they're holding ETH and stable coins, USDC and USDT is held by over 200 and 100 DAOs. Matic is again a large chain coin, and then ETH and Uni. Uni is held by 36 DAOs, and this is basically the picture, mostly infrastructure, stable coins, and DeFi. I wonder if this is going to change as the market changes itself in the next year or two. So we looked at the chains. Just I know that some people here are, or maybe many people are on the Solana ecosystem. So we currently have 19 DAOs from the Solana ecosystem on DeepDAO, 136 million in their treasury, and some 22,000 votes. I know there is more activity on Solana DAOs, and I'm very happy about it. Hopefully we can connect again and increase these numbers on DeepDAO. So these are the chains. And the third element I wanted to speak about is the use cases. The largest DAOs by use case. And if we look at DeepDAO at the main dashboard, we can see that there are 13 categories of DAOs. And the use cases are very varied, from infrastructure DAOs and DeFi. DAOs are great at managing protocols. And infrastructure DAOs are leading the way, with Optimism and Arbitrum having huge huge treasuries on their own. And there is also decentralized science, which is a growing use case for DAOs. And DAOs are managing physical assets. There's a lot of buzz about this being a growing sector in the coming cycle. Let's see if that happens. NFT DAOs, media and communications, work and funding, investment DAOs. There's quite a few investment DAOs, and they are doing quite well. This is another sector that makes a lot of sense for DAOs. Let's go back to the. So really, these are the largest. I think there are over 500 DeFi DAOs and about 150 infrastructure DAOs, although these are the big ones currently. Now for the tools. So in 2020, when we started looking into DAOs, there were about 5 to 10 of them. If people still remember, there were Aragon and DAO Stack and DAO House. DAO Stack is now defunct, and Argon and DAOx are no longer leading the space, although they're still working in the space and are still improving their product and actually doing it by a lot. But there are now in 2023 over 100 tools for DAOs. And in fact, the tool market is growing so much that we actually created a dashboard especially for it. And there are over 100 tools right now that DAOs can use specifically. We also looked at chains that they're deployed on, and we're going to add them soon. And we can see that there's a lot of types of, so DAOs are organizations. And if you want to manage an organization, you need to have the tools for it. It's not the naive approach of just having everything on chain and letting thousands or maybe millions of people just vote on every decision. This time is over. And it's a good thing because DAOs need real management if the space is going to mature. And it is maturing. So as we can see, there's tools for treasury management and launching a DAO and actually doing governance for DAOs and managing dispute resolution, doing data analytics, doing the legal side of DAOs. There are tools for all of these. And you can actually come to DeepDAO and if you want to start a DAO and start with the launcher and choose one of these tools. Many of them are already mature and have DAOs, and you can pretty much put together a DAO in it's not just 5-6 clicks, and nor should it be, but in a matter of a few hours, including preparation, you can have your own DAO infrastructure, which is pretty impressive. So again, the tool market is growing a lot. There's actually beginning to be tool marketplaces out there, and I think this is going to be an area that will grow a lot in the next cycle. I know a lot of teams that are continuously building through the bear market, and I've seen their products, I've seen demos. Things are looking up. Now, governance. In terms of the overall structure of governance, not a lot changed in the last couple of years, because as it is, it's already quite mature. It starts with discussions, maybe Discourse or Telegram or Discord, and there are a lot of discussions on every proposal. That, certainly for the big DAOs, a lot of stuff is happening before anything is submitted, and then it's submitted off-chain and then on-chain. And again, the type of DAOs are managing protocols. Huge groups of token holders are managing billions of dollars. Something that we never seen before, and there's a lot of talk about network state right now. This is part of it. This is definitely how things are managed, and we're still at the building stage for all this. This is a historical phenomenon from my point of view, because people have been managing assets for thousands of years, managing themselves and managing assets together as groups. And slowly by slowly, there's been more and more technologies to do that. And DAOs are certainly part of it. DAOs are a way to actually streamline the process and make it more professional and more transparent and more possible. So when you look at it like this, about the DAO technology as a way to manage groups of people, you see that DAOs are inevitable. People are going to continue to work together. There is going to be more and more people doing that, more and more people managing assets together. And this is just something that is happening outside of crypto and inside of crypto, actually. Crypto is just one way, maybe the best for some use cases, to have people work together and manage assets together. So protocols, definitely, any kind of asset management and fund distribution. I mentioned the infrastructure DAOs earlier. And also there is a really fascinating experiment right now that is happening in the optimism ecosystem, where they are distributing funds to projects that already contributed to their ecosystem. And I think this is a fascinating experiment because no less than 30 million OP tokens, something like $50 million, is being distributed to about 600 projects by 150 badge holders, or in other words, voters. And if you think about the magnitude of this, $50 million are distributed to 600 projects by 150 people that need to do this selection. There's a lot of knowledge that is involved in it, a lot of expertise that is needed, and a huge amount of money that is being distributed. And it's all happening as part of the process. And I've been following it closely and seeing the discussions between the badge holders and the different considerations and the learning that is going on. It's very clear that this is already happening with large amounts of money. And this is something that is going to be further experimented with and iterated on, and will become bigger and bigger over time. Once you see it from the inside, there's no way this is not happening. It is happening. Yeah, so I'm a fan of watching this. I'm a sucker for looking at people organizing to work together, and really this was the main motivation to start DeepDAO, to make everything more transparent. And this brings us to transparency versus privacy. This has been sort of a divide in the DAO ecosystem. What do we want? Do we want more transparency to allow people to look at everything, or do we want more privacy so that people's privacy is kept? And personally, I think that both of them are important and both of them are completely understandable. If you want to keep your privacy, please go ahead and do it. But DeepDAO is for people and DAOs who are interested in privacy, in transparency. And there's a lot of reasons to be open and to be clear about what you're doing and why are you doing it. So for us, transparency is important. And what does transparency allow, really? That brings us to going a little bit deeper into the entire space of DAO data. And at DeepDAO, we have data API, DAO data API that is quite detailed. I think there are over almost 50 endpoints here, covering everything in the DAO ecosystem, from governance and treasuries. And there's been a lot of interest in the health of a treasury. If you look at some of the DAOs, so Optimism and Arbitrum are good examples. They're huge DAOs with $4 billion each, but almost all of it is in their own token. So is this healthy? Is this, or is this overly leveraged into just one token, one project? It's not my place to decide Uniswap is also, by the way, almost everything in their treasury is in their own token. This is not for me to say, but what we do at DeepDAO, we make all this data available. And if you want to become part of a DAO, you can actually look at the API and look on the site and see for yourself if people are, if DAOs are holding tokens in their own token, or maybe managing their treasury and doing all sorts of protecting themselves from one token falling apart. So we're looking at Gnosis just as an example. 95% of their treasuries in their own token, and then they're holding ETH and all sorts of staking ETH, it looks like. So treasury health is an important piece of data that is going to become more and more, and there is demand for it. So people are researching it and looking at the type of composition that treasuries have. And we also have another dashboard that explores the involvement of DAOs with DeFi. Which protocols are being used? We can see that Uniswap v3 is the largest protocol by number of organizations using it. And we can see the other protocols that are being used. And there's more data about the type of protocols and the type of DeFi investment that treasuries are doing. And just to connect to my previous point, this is possible because of transparency, because everything is out in the open. There's no way you could know and you can understand how Apple, for example, or any of the other large technology or old world companies, what are they doing with their funds? How are they managing it? With DAOs, you can. And I think this is for the best, because if you want to create trust between thousands and maybe millions of people, and you want all these people to manage their own assets, where in fact they have a share in it, then you want to create trust and you want to allow transparency. And a few more examples of the type of data that is available. So we created at DeepDAO for each voter, there's a detailed DAO experience dashboard. This is just my own, but if you have an Ethereum address, you can switch to people here and search for it. And there are several millions of these voter profiles. And what you can see in it, you can see that I'm a member of 14 organizations, created 7 proposals and 15 votes. And on this dashboard, you can see every vote and every proposal I participated in. Again, full detailed transparency. And here you can see something that is the first iteration of something that goes deeper. We created a social graph of voters that are most friendly to me, or in other words, voting with me. And those voters who vote the most times against me. Sometimes it's the same people. And this is a way for us to see the network of people that are involved in the DAO, in one DAO, and also in other DAOs. The entire DAO ecosystem, since it's fully transparent and it's made out of thousands of DAOs and millions of voters, you can see the interconnections between people and between the DAOs. And in fact, we have similar organizations by number of mutual voters. So you can see that this DAO, again, Gnosis is just an example, has a lot of mutual voters with CowSwap, which is actually the same mother company, and Aave and Stargate and Arbitrum and Optimism and Uniswap and a bunch of others. And again, to touch on Solana, because I know people here are connected, when you go into one of the Solana DAOs, you can actually see that the others are connected to it. because similar addresses vote in the same DAOs. Okay, we're probably running out of time, so I'll run through some of the other type of data. The goal here is to show that in DAOs you can see a lot of the data and understand DAOs, understand these organizations and the people involved from within. So we created a G score, a governance score, and this measures these numbers, the 14 organizations, 7 proposals, 15 votes, and creates a global score for these millions of voters. And as you can see, I'm sliding in the rating. I used to be much higher, but don't have time to be to vote too much these days when I have to manage DeepDAO, basically. Another thing that I think is interesting is to see coalitions. So we know that people in politics, in life, don't work on their own. They work together with other people. And at DeepDAO, we created coalitions. Who is voting the most times with whom? So we can see that these two people are voting together, have voted together 58 times, which is almost, closing on 50% of the votes. These guys are definitely working together. They probably know each other, or they're just mysteriously very much aligned. And if you look at 2 people coalitions, and then 3 people coalitions, 4 people, 5 people coalitions, you become really familiar with what's going on and the power structure of the DAO. And if you look at any of the DAOs and you think, okay, should I invest in this DAO, or should I become part of it? Should I join the chat and really become, invest my time and maybe my money in it? Then you really want to understand the power structure of all this. And in DAOs, you can, because the data is available. So DAO interconnections, coalitions, friend and antagonist. That's it. I pretty much covered most of it. And I encourage you guys to come to DeepDAO and take a look at some of this data. We're actually charging for some of it, but right now it's completely free, all of it. So this is a good time to come and check it. And I want to thank you. Hopefully next time I'll be able to come in person. Enjoy these great presentations that are in these couple of days, and enjoy Athens and have fun. Thanks, guys. See you.